All right. Check. All right, this week we've got nothing on Monday. Is it a holiday on Monday? Let's check. Not that I see. No, there's just no news on Monday. Maybe let me check financial juice. Monday is the 27th. What? It says there's durable goods tomorrow. What the heck? Why is that not on here? It says it's FOMC. 27th. Yeah. So Monday is good. Tuesday we've got consumer confidence. Wednesday we've got crude oil. Thursday is uh, some GDP and then PCE. What? Why does this say FOMC and completely different stuff? That is so weird. This is what I'm talking about. We've got this being all weird. Next week's non-farm payroll. But if we go to financial juice, you've got, and this is my time zone, so yeah, 8:30. Um, yeah, I mean this is completely different. Crude oil, GDP, what? And then this says FOMC on Wednesday, the 29th. What the heck? What is going on, man? Do I trust? Let me check X. Let's see. Maybe Earnings Whisper has a news thing. Let's see if there's any earnings. Monday, none of them that I recognize. We got PayPal, Wayfair. I'm just looking for the big ones. Okay, Wednesday we've got some big ones. Oh yeah, Wednesday's ADP. We've got Google, Microsoft, Meta. Holy cow, yeah. I forgot. I gotta stay on top of these guys. Am I not following them? Maybe I ought to. Excuse me. Hmm. Huh. Well, obviously you got the earnings calendar, but let's check out news. News this week. Uh, man, how do I see? I just think Forex Factory hasn't updated. They always do this. Oh wait, yeah, I should just check. Yeah, let me just check a different one. Boom, economic calendar this week. All right, let's see here. Yeah, new home sales. We got durable goods. We need to see the 27th. Durable goods. There we go. Yeah, so we got two news. I wish they colored these. It's kind of hard to see. Yeah, looks like what the heck? Consumer confidence on Tuesday. Okay. Fed funds. This has Fed funds. That is confusing, dude. Weird. Okay. Well, we got a mix of both on this calendar, but it looks to be a pretty big week. Multiple three-star news events. Man, it would just be nice to know exactly what is going on, dude. Um, and we've got lots of. This is just a big week. It's perfect. Been waiting for a good week to trade, where I've been trading. All right, this music's irritating. All right, now we can break down the analysis. Everybody's broken into all-time highs except for Russell. Last time Russell broke out, and we had Russell set the new high here. that set up a really nice continuation short on all of these guys, but it didn't make a new low. But what did work was when Dow came up, set a new high here. We had ES and NASDAQ make higher highs without the Dow, and that led to a nice, really sharp sell-off. So far for like an intermediate term move on the downside, we've been getting the ES, we've been getting an ES and NASDAQ higher highs. And if we zoom in here, what do we get here to really confirm it on the smaller time frame? We had the ultimate high here. Okay, it was a blend. So we had Russell also create SMT with the Dow here at the same time. Oh man, that's confusing though. What happened here? Here. I just want to see. This was pretty dynamic. But either way, we had an SMT divergence here with the Russell barely peaking above the all-time high. Also, while it's taking out a big pool of liquidity. So yeah, here was a nice little short. Just want to confirm that this isn't an inefficiency. Yeah. So yeah, this is all inside of the inefficiency. And then yeah, another entry there. But anyways, I'm just trying to get the logic for the short side if we get one. Even though I should be focusing on the long. Yeah, Russell came higher here, came up with the NASDAQ, and then we had the SMT with NASDAQ and YM, and sorry, ES. So there was the next short entry there as they broke the high there with the Russell 2 failing. And then as we got the last little tip off here was also that little manipulation leg into that wick. So it was all there, but basically we had Russell come higher and made SMT with the Dow, and then on top of that we had ES and NASDAQ also create SMT to confirm that larger move down. Then here was the next one. So then we had almost the same thing. We had Russell. Gosh, this is all the same music, dude. That might be better. But yeah, we had Russell come out and make SMT again. And the funny thing is here on this high, we had NASDAQ again come up again. And that's actually exactly what happened here, where NASDAQ came up higher. There, right there. And that marked another short there. And then for this one, it was, yeah, ES and NASDAQ. So very tricky. I think the dynamic is like, oh, Russell comes up, takes out a high without the Dow. The Dow just took out these relative equal highs, So that's why I'm actually thinking about this. But we'll go back to the actual time frames in a second. All right. So yeah, we've already got the soup there. Now what we'd want to see is Russell come spike these highs without the Dow. I don't really give a shit what these guys do until after that's happened. I want to see Russell sweep these, and then I want to see maybe another SMT again with one of these at least taking out the concurrent high that Russell made, like an SMT with these. So that's what I look for. That's just what's worked in the past. Other than that, I wouldn't trade it short. That's all I'm trying to get at. I'm only trying to get at that that's how I trade it short if it was to set up. Anywho, back to the Dow. So yeah, nice big gap up weekly candle. Um, honestly, I'd want to see this get rebalanced if it was going to be like a fake out. You know, you can see we failed here. We did displace, and that displacement already was delivered here. So now we're just watching this candle, these candles here. We had this daily hold really nice and clean with SMT there. This is not relevant anymore. We can delete a lot of this garbage. I'll leave that there. That's not relevant, but that's all good. Some of this stuff just doesn't need to be here. All right. Yeah, daily, we're creating the start of a displacement. Obviously, on the 4 hour, we're going to have a clear one, but we haven't confirmed a displacement yet above this high until I see this next candle be green. Well, technically it already did, but yeah, it's still like not clear. So yeah, we've got a bullish fair value gap here, right on top of this, maybe like higher time frame order block, maybe right there. Um, and this might be a good play, this order block here. Or if we're going to rebalance, I'd actually look for it to chase all these trailed stops there and use this maybe lower time frame order block here, which would line up back, maybe with the top of this inefficiency here, if it was to look like a long again. But yeah, this is like the first area of interest, obviously, right below these, still a pool of liquidity. I think then we earn, people are going to look for this as support, so I think inverting this level of liquidity would be back to this, but we'll see. On the 1 hour, we've kind of weakly gone up. We do have an inefficiency here. We'll mark that out for fun, but may not last, may not be important. So yeah, we've got that there. We've got smooth highs, relative equal highs, and then 15-minute. Nice, yeah. So we've got support, resistance, liquidity very clearly, smooth lows. So yeah, maybe this inefficiency is interesting. I need to remember to click save because I always forget. Yeah, we've got little pools of liquidity on both sides. I don't know if this fair value gap will hold, but maybe it will. I think we'd want to sweep that, which Maybe this order block would be good. Yeah, we'll see. We don't want to get too ingrained into the detail. Gosh. So yeah, I'm looking for some sort of short idea to play out. But yeah, the longs are definitely the play. Let me look at the other charts first. Let me also leave some notes. YM. Pools of liquidity on both sides. Smaller time frame, but higher time frame. Short looks in the cards, at least for the backtest sweep. So what I really need to do is look at how we came up to determine how we're going to come down. That's usually what works for me. And that'll take some time. I need to really go back at all the moves that broke us into new highs and then look at all the moves that came down when we did that. So yeah, yes, weekly. Yep, also trading higher. Came back and tested that weekly. Dow Jones. Um, I just want to see what the Dow Jones came down to. Just came down to the order block, but that's still not very clear to me. Maybe on the daily. Hmm. Actually fell short of this, but maybe if we, yeah, stopped at the 50. So, yeah, it's just respecting that order block, I guess. This order block already souped this low. And man, if this comes down, it's gonna sweep all of this. It's gonna come down into here, it looks like. Oops. I don't know how important that is. Yeah. So on the daily, we got these old, we've got multiple liquidity levels down there. So far, we're displacing higher. We want to see if that's going to hold. Doubt it. Every time we've been displacing, we end up back testing it. This is a nice solid 4 hour though here. It confirmed it by this candle. So, and then we've got another one here. Which doesn't line up with that one. So just, whoops. So yeah, we did just confirm a displacement through this high on the 4. So this may actually end up holding. But yeah, a lot of the times it just wants to take out these trailed stops. Same thing on the 1 hour, but it actually did fail to displace above that high. So far it's gone a delivery there, but now we've got smooth highs here, relative equal highs. And a shift to the downside on the 1 hour. Let's see if I have one saved. So let's save this bad boy. So yeah, we still have long liquidity still to be taken. 15-minute. Nice big inefficiency here lined up with the 1 and the 15. So yeah, I like this 4-hour. This is really clean. I don't know why I have crypto on there. Yeah, look at all this liquidity down here on Russell. On the 1-hour, we do have a very clear market structure shift, so that makes sense to come down here, sweep some of this. We already came up above this high, so this would be the next area. We've got smooth lows here, so I'm just gonna, just gonna note that. Save this one. All right. So yeah, we got smooth lows into the 4-hour. So if we have some sort of SMT that makes sense up here, then I may actually look for a short. But yeah, so far, higher time frame ES has a market structure shift on the 4-hour. Still need a daily to see how we shift or not on daily. I suspect not. 1-hour market structure shift to the downside. Same smooth highs and lows as the smaller time frame on YM. Very similar POIs for a short into or a long into. I'd be curious to see these compared. Yeah, Nasdaq's come up above. Very clearly. And then it also has a market structure shift. With Russell making lower lows on every session. But yeah, I'd want to see like a quick spike. We'll see. That's, I mean, it can't get distracted yet. Yeah, nice smooth lows here. Right below the high. So I think that we are going to come and play this. If we look at just the difference between this high and low, it's a little bit below this inefficiency. So it could come a bit lower, maybe wick down, close the body somewhere in there. I'll set an alert on both of these. Did I set one on Dow? Wow, it's quite the difference there in the AM though. What happened? The AM happened, Dow actually came higher without, and NASDAQ came higher. But then everybody came higher into lunch, with Dow coming much higher, basically really sweeping up into that liquidity before it back tested during lunch. We came back up, failed the high there, and NASDAQ got it very clearly to move back down below lunch, which we failed to do there. So we'll see what happens. All right. You're right. Similar story here. NASDAQ definitely looks the strongest. Also waiting to see if we're going to get a really clear shift up above this liquidity, which I kind of suspect it won't, just because that's going to make it trickier for everyone. But if someone's going to get it, it's going to be NASDAQ. And if we get it, I would then look for more longs. But yeah, we held the similar areas on the weekly. We came back down. Where did we come down to? We shifted above this high, and we just came down to a discount. Just came down into the order block. So we had this swing up into here. We came back into the order block. Go to the hourly. It's a bit more clear. This is the start of the order block here. And it actually really respected it there. Okay. But anyways, daily, looking to see how tomorrow closes on the 4-hour. Very similar to ES. We got the shift there. Bullish 4-hour. And we have another one out to here. Doesn't overlap there. What is this, a daily? Which kind of got disrespected, so I'm not going to care about it. But yeah, we got this 4-hour here. We've got multiple 4-hours up into there too, but these are kind of smooth looking. 1-hour, very similar to ES. 15-minute, same relative equal lows. So this is just an obvious short looking area, but we also need some clarity up at these highs. So we do have smooth highs here. Relative equal highs. We did get a shift here on the 15. I think we had one on the 1-hour. No, must have been the 15. Just gonna note that. I need to just rename all these. Yeah, we got some liquidity down here too, lines up with that. Perfectly lines up the 4-hour, so this is very solid. But the problem is we have some really obvious trailed stops there, but then these smooth lows. So if we're gonna trade the higher time frame inverted soup, then I would think we're gonna head all the way back down into this one at the very least. But for now, smaller time frame, similar targets. So yeah, we do have some SMT. We do have a market structure shift. We do have liquidity there for all of them to reach into. That might be enough. Um, but I think I do really need to nuance out how we're going to take the high and what that's going to look like for this to actually reverse. Also, I'd want to look at VIX and the dollar to get sort of a confirmation for the same idea. Yeah, very similar. Russell really having a hard time to displace here. Nothing on the daily. Just been chopping. We had a fair value gap there that got disrespected. Definitely failing to displace so far here. Oops. Yeah, if the next candle wicks at all down into there. No, if it closes green, it might respect it. We'll see. But yeah, I'm not going to mark this inefficiency yet, even though it could be valid. I think we need more information. But we do have lots of liquidity up here, very obviously. Yeah, this is a harder one to look at and to trade. It's really respecting this bullish for value gap. We came, respected it there, and then literally knifed through it only for it to come back up and then totally respect it again. So it's definitely something happening here. But yeah, this chart is just not as clear. I think I think this I am bullish on Russell based on the liquidity though. Um, when we had this SMT that also occurred here, last time we had it, we that's what gave us that big move, and we got the same thing here, and then we held that high. So I think that's still in the cards. It may just be sort of like a fractal of what's happening here, which would actually be really cool to see. Speaking of, let's just look at it. So if this is the same thing here, which it may not be, this could have been this correction here, just different length, and then we had some consolidation down there. This might be that move there. Who knows how deep it'll go? Might just stop there, and then we get that nice pump up. I don't know. That's not how I trade, but it's kind of fun. But yeah, lots of liquidity here. I haven't drawn it out, but very obvious smooth highs, relative equal highs. So just looking for a reason to get long. Maybe we're gonna get a nice move down and uh changing character type of SMT. So far, Russell has been holding up versus these guys. It didn't really hold up here on these charts. Here it came and made a new low, but on the futures chart, it really held up versus the new week opening gap. Here's the new week opening gap, and all these guys came down and traded into that, making lower lows, lower low, lower low, lower low, all into the new week opening gap. Russell came down, made a lower low, but didn't even care about the new week opening gap. And then we moved up. Big change in character here, where Russell all of a sudden is actually weaker substantially, coming into a discount. These guys don't even, Nasdaq did, but YM and ES did not come into a discount. And then boom, we get the pretty big move there. Like if you compare this move from that low to that high, that's a 4.5% versus here, it's only 2 here. Should be pretty big on Nasdaq too. And Russ and ES. So yeah, we got twice the movement on Russell on that long there. So we came up, everybody broke this high, but we have failed here. So I'm looking for, if we're going to get long, which does make sense to me still, at least on Russell. Russell makes a lot of sense. What we want to see is, what do we want to see? We're already seeing weakness, but I think what we want to see is, let's see. Yeah, there's just no way. Let me go back out. We did come lower, but we still held the original origination. Yeah, I'd want to see a change in character in this range. So maybe we get like a move back down below the CPI level, and Russell is still holding it with the Dow, which honestly could happen, but just looking back into here, we had another SMT there, which confirmed this low really strong, and then we came down in again, whereas Russell held and then got that nice move up into the news right here. There was another one, but I can't remember what it looked like. Yeah, I just want to see a change in character. So what's going to happen is I want to see Russell like either coming lower, but then at a key time, all of a sudden in like a in like a nice structure area. I want to see Russell, for example, maybe hold. Let's say this is going to be the fair value gap. I really want to see it hold something in here. Maybe we're going to come down here, sweep this low. Let me get some drawings and turn off the magnet. So yeah, maybe we're going to come down here, kind of bounce there, and then like right at the open or like right into news, right there, we don't make a lower low versus we do here, somewhere here, something like that. Or, maybe we come down here. Who knows? But either way, right into the news, we go like that. And then we bounce versus this bounces, sweeps all this liquidity. So that's kind of what I'd be looking for. Something like that. Uh, it may even happen. I don't know how or when, but it does look like there is somewhat of a short idea setting up. Weekend Wall Street will disagree with me. We already moved up, which makes sense. Yeah, so we've already moved up above these highs on the Dow Jones, and I know we've already done it on US Tech 100. So yeah, these highs have been taken, at least on these two charts. I need to find US 500, which doesn't show. Related markets, view all indices. I want to see the 500. Weekend. Yeah, it only shows me the Dow Jones. So I can only assume ES has also done it. I don't know why they label Wall Street as the same thing. Yeah, this is stupid. Don't need to care about it. Yeah, either way, it looks like these highs have been swept over the weekend. Um, yeah, I can only imagine what's going to happen here. So maybe maybe this was a yeah, this must have been a long because we had this uh SMT change in character here from lunch. So let's look at the 1 minute. I just want to see. Yeah, interesting. So we just came back down to this order block, I guess. We'll see. It's we just need the market to open and go off of that. But it looks like we're going to open up above these highs. So we'll use the new week opening gap to determine the analysis going forward. But knowing that we probably are going to open up above these highs, uh, that'll hopefully give us more information. But yeah, I still think this level is clean. We'll see if we open it up above there. And yeah, I still like the idea of getting long on Russell, especially if we take out this open. Kind of want to see what even happened at the open. So we got the big news move. We come up, everybody goes up. At the open, we come down and make another divergence. And then fail here. So this is out of play until something happens on the bottom for a sort of change in character, or something happens with the highs. And for these guys, yeah, I'm still looking for a long maybe there, and then we'll see. I need to go do a look back and see what I should be looking for on the short side. Okay, now that we have that in order, the flows. We have a very bearish looking flow on SPY, puts rising into the highs, and yeah, calls really came down. Yeah, bearish on the tide too. So I would think that anything above here is actually a short to get back below here. So I'm going to be looking for a short actually right at the open today or tomorrow morning. Q's does not match up with that. Q's was pretty bullish, though it had half the amount of premium, 30 to 10. No, not half, like roughly the same. Whereas the holdings was accumulating a bear with a fake move in the calls. Yeah. So overarchingly bearish with a huge bear move in, no, not a huge one. All right, if premiums are coming down while there's more volume in the calls, there's more call buying than selling. So there's more call buying. but they are paying a premium for the puts. So they started paying a big premium for the puts. This is just confusing because I hate it when it does this where they have a ton of volume. So yeah, they sold a ton of puts there. So yeah, it looks like there's more buying in the calls, but yeah, there is technically because they went and sold way more puts. Puts recovered though, and this barely comes down. So they've sold way more puts and they bought them back at a major premium. So this whole move in the puts is pretty fake relative to the calls, but the problem is the calls came down and they're oh man, they're paying less. So they're getting a good deal when they're buying calls. It's just hard because you got to go in tandem with price. So price came up, chopped. It came up and chopped, and then it barely came down and came up, and then this was kind of that reversal. Or sorry, no. We just grinded down, and kind of puts kind of followed that, and calls they came down to, and they kind of followed that. So the question is, the volume is just weird because we had way more. This is just a stupid chart. There's not even that much volume. Get over it. Cool. We're not bearish. I'm over it. I think that I was looking way too much into that. All right. So yeah, we've got the bearish flows. So even though we might be up above these pricing areas, even on the Dow, I do like some sort of a short idea if we get an SMT that makes sense, some sort of change in character, which to me would be hopefully something with the Russell. I don't know. That would make sense for me, but we'll see what happens. And I'm not talking about a big short, I'm just talking about to get this liquidity. Um, so far we have displaced. We even got one here on the Dow. So that definitely confirms the bullish action and this should go higher, which that totally makes sense now. Whereas these ones didn't, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to peter out. And Russell's coming down to reaccumulate this shift. So yeah, it did not shift above this high though. So yeah, let's look at these charts because they have more after hours trading. So yeah, we came down, swept out all this liquidity. Yeah, same thing there. We held that area. And then, yeah, we gotta move up, sweeping the highs. Russell not looking too bad there. Cool. Russell rejected that, bounced into the order block. Oh, yeah. It displaced once it came down. Still rejecting this, but so far it came back down. Wonder what order. Swept these equal lows. Yeah, we'll see what happens. VIX is a little bit easier sometimes. Oh, yeah, look at that. VIX just swept all this trailed stops, sweeping all these lows. Wow. So there totally may be a sell-off. Maybe even wants to come spike down or come back up and then spike down. Wow, yep, same thing here on VIX futures. Could come lower, but we just swept out this low, this big pool of liquidity here. So yeah, we're definitely in like a, doesn't need to be a major bounce, but at least a solid bounce. This would be the area of interest back up into here, or even all the way back up in here, which would be pretty big. But yeah, we could still come all the way down here, sweep this. Um, I would think that this is a big enough pool of liquidity that yeah, we could get a move out of here, at least up into here. So yeah, I want to see where Russell opens up, because if Russell is up above this high, well, the Dow's going to take this high out first, most obviously. But if it comes down, this is a nice pool of liquidity. If it comes down and sweeps this and then comes back up without taking out that new high, and Russell is getting some sort of move, we get a nice long in Russell, boom, maybe takes out the highs where Dow doesn't, and then yeah, we look short on Dow, boom, maybe we get another move up on these guys too, we'll see. But yeah, something similar. So yeah, I'm looking for how we open. And VIX is showing me that we could easily get a nice, oh my gosh, look at this too, yeah. That is juicy. So it doesn't need to be huge, but it would at least look nice to come up into any of this. Yeah, just look at these smooth lows and then it just poops, accumulates, knifes both ways. Maybe we get another one down, boom. We'll see. Gold and silver and copper. I'm still looking for maybe some sort of move above this high. Um, yeah, it's already made a divergence with the all-time high here, but it would just be more clean to sweep all this out, I would think. And we do have relative equal highs here, do we? No, we took that out. Oh, wow, gold's got a daily market structure shift too. I need to rename that to just city. Yeah, very clear market structure shift there on gold. Exact same thing on silver. which it's already tested too. It's already traded into it without gold. Yeah, honestly, I would look for a move barely above this high as a short if we're up above, if we're having some sort of change in character here on copper. That may offer a nice short, at least down to this low. And with silver, we've got lots of smooth lows there, so we'll see. I'm not expecting like a major sell-off, but that could easily happen too. Yeah, I think I think I'm right to look for some sort of major short though in Russell. If Russell gets a nice spike up without the others, that's going to be awesome. All right, that's it for me. I need to take a break.